Okay, 11.1, this is an introduction to sequence of series. This is also the next to the last set of notes that you're going to get for this unit. So you might want to start working on that Unit 3 review. All right, so this is your introduction to sequences and series. Example 1, we're going to write the terms. This should be easy for you. Write the first 6 terms in the sequence. All right, so a sub 1 would be the first term. A sub 2 would be the second. A sub 3 would be the third. A sub 4, A sub 5, and then A sub 6. All right. Now, what this means is that when n is 1, so it sort of looks like this. You're sort of making it like an XY chart. All right. Here is the n. All right. Let me put it over here. So this is going to be our n's, and this is going to be our a sub n. So this one says that when n is 1, what is a sub n? Well, we put a 1 in here. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5. And then the second term, which is a sub 2, means n is 2. So now we put a 2 in here. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3 is 7. And then we put a 3 in. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9. And after that, you should be able to do the rest of them by looking at the previous ones. So you can see that the pattern here is you're going up by 2 each time. So this next term would be 11, 13, and 15. All right, and that's the first 6 terms would be 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 16. So those are our first 6 terms. All right. So they could write it like this too, f of n. Again, the first 6 terms. This would be n. This would be f of n. So when n is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So again, we put a 1 in here. 1 minus 1 is 0. Anything to 0 power is 1. Put a 2 in here. 2 minus 1 is 1. Negative 2 to the first power is negative 2. Put a 3 in here. 3 minus 1 is 2. Negative 2 squared would be positive 4. And then you should be able to see a pattern again. We multiply by negative 2. So negative 2 times 1 gives negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 gives positive 4. Negative 2 times 4 gives us negative 8. Negative 2 times 8 gives us positive 16. Negative 2 times 16 gives us a negative 32. And there are the first 6 terms in that pattern. All right, so that should be something easy for you to do. This next part, pretty easy for the most part. There's one difficult task, and that is to write the rule. That always seems to give students trouble. All right. So for each sequence, describe the pattern, write the next term, and write the rule. Okay. So DP means describe the pattern. All right. So it looks like we are multiplying by a negative 1/3. All right, because if we multiply this by negative 1/3, we get positive 1/9. Multiply that by negative 1/3, we get negative 1/27, and so on. So that's describing the pattern. The next term, all we got to do is multiply this by a negative 1/3, and we would get 1 over negative 243. All right, so that's the next term. Now the hard part is the rule. All right, the rule goes like this. A sub n equals. Now, what are we doing? How are we getting these terms? All right, so the way I would write it is this. If we take that negative 1/3 and we do that to the nth power. So we put a 1 in there, we give us negative 1/3. We put a 2 in here, we square this, that would give us a positive 1/9. Put a 3 in here, that would give us a negative 1/27. Or you can write it like this. So this could be the rule, or you could write the rule like this. A sub n equals 1 over -3 to the nth power. All right, because the 1's not changing in the top. The only thing that's changing is the bottom and the sign. So again, if this was a 1, it would give us -1/3. If that was a 2, it would give us 1 over 9. If that was a 3, it would give us 1 over -27. All right. So again, either one of these would be the rule. All right. B. Describe the pattern. Describe the pattern. Let's see. This one goes up by 4. This one goes up by 6. This one goes up by 8. So you're adding 2 each time. Adding 2 to adding 2 to what you're increasing by. All right, that's all how I'm going to say it. You're adding 2 to what you're increasing by. So the first time we increased by 4, so it was plus 4. Then we add 2 to that, so it means plus 6. Then we add 2 to that, which gives us plus 8. And then we add 2 to that, which gives us plus 10. So our next term would be 30. All right. Now our rule, this one would be hard to see. All right. Yeah, this rule, again, what you're putting in here is you're saying how you can get any term by knowing what the n is. And the rule here is actually a sub n equals n squared plus n. Now, 1, a sub 1, that means n is 1. So 1 squared is 1 plus 1 gives us 2, which is our first term. This is 2, the second term, so n is 2. 2 squared is 4 plus 2 is 6. All right, and then our third term, 3 squared gives us 9 plus 3 would give us 12. So this would be our rule. All right, or you could write it like this. A sub n equals n times n plus 1. All right, either way is fine. And again, that's probably the hard part of this is figuring those rules out. We will have a system for doing that or a formula for doing that later on. All right, how do you use it in real life? If you ever work in a produce department at a grocery store, sometimes they stack oranges and they're stacking them in the shape of a square pyramid. All right, so there's one on the top level. All right, and then there's 4 oranges on the next level, and then 9. So they're all in squares. All right, so even number this way of rows and columns, either way you look at it. All right, so we want to know how many are going to be in the 10th level. Well, there's 4 oranges on the second level, so that's 2 rows of 2, and that's the second level. So on the 10th level, there's going to be 10 rows and 10 columns. So there'll be 100 oranges. All right? And then how many oranges will you need for the whole period if it has 10 levels? Well, this is actually, what happens is this. These are all going to be squares. So we would do 1 squared would be 1, 2 squared would be 4, 3 squared would be 9, 4 squared would be 16, 5 squared would be 25, 6 squared, 36, 7 squared, 49, 8 squared, 64, 9 squared, 81, and then 10 squared will give us 100. And then all we have to do is add all these numbers up. I'm just going to throw them in the calculator real quick and add them up. So let's see, that gives me 25, 25, that gives me 55, so I'll start off with that. 55 plus 36 plus 49 plus 64 plus 81 plus 100. 385. So we need 385 total oranges to make the whole pyramid. Right? And there's a U try for you to do. Right? So you can go ahead and do the U try on your own, and I will send out the answers for it. And then I will also send out what the homework assignment is. Don't forget though, test is coming up for the Unit 3 test, so you might want to start working on that review.